Welcome to 2 key strategies for managing time. I've discovered that when you have a business or when you're dealing with your own life, one of the things that happens is there is so much going on that it's really hard to manage time. You'll create an intention and pretty soon the day has gone by, or you don't feel good, or some other priority comes up. And so managing time becomes one of the most important things that we can do if we're managing our lives and our business. This is particularly true when you're a solopreneur, because you're not only managing your life, you may still have a job, but you also need to do the things to make your business work. So we have to have strategies that are going to help us maintain our intention and integrate that into time. The first thing to think about is what's most important right now. Priorities management is really critical. If you don't have priorities managed, then the less important things will take precedence. A lot of times it's hard to figure out what's the most important thing. So there's 2 ways to effectively learn how to manage time. And the first one is called the Covey Time Matrix. Now, this came from somebody named Stephen Covey, who wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And this is a really great quadrant model. If you'll notice, first of all, this quadrant 1 is what's necessary. It's urgent and important. So these are emergencies, last-minute deadlines, pressing problems, and unforeseen events. The thing is, we will make lots and lots of things urgent and important that really aren't. So it's important to evaluate, is this thing really urgent and important? The second area, which is the most important area to manage, is effectiveness. This is when you're setting your goals and doing creative thinking, planning, building relationships, and even recreation. So these things aren't urgent, but they're important, aren't they? The third quadrant is what's not important. It's urgent, but it's not important. Now, this is where we really get tripped up. Needless interruptions, reports, irrelevant meetings, other people's issues. This is basically an issue about boundaries. We are not able to, in many cases, manage our boundaries, especially if we care about other people or other things. So we will defer our own priorities, those things that are important to us, and allow those other things to take precedence. So this is an important area to check out and see if you have stuff going on in your life that's urgent but not important. And then the final quadrant is called waste. Now, that's an interesting term because a lot of times we will be doing this to manage our emotions and energy. Now, it's not urgent and it's not important, but it's great for avoiding those important things, especially when we don't have enough energy. So energy is another factor to consider. How are you doing energy-wise? How is that impacting this area of your life? Now, if you go to carolmerlo.com business resources, you can get your own time matrix handout and fill it in. Take some time and take a week, take a few days and go, okay, what am I doing? In fact, you may even do it after the fact or during. Okay, what am I doing right now? Is it urgent? Is it important? Is it not urgent? Is it not important? And put it into one of those boxes. This way you're going to start to really discover what's going on in your time management scenario that is out of balance and that you can change. The other thing that's so cool that I just discovered is called time blocks. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, this is really going to become important. So in this context, we're talking about business, but you can also apply this to other areas of your life. We manage time blocks by incorporating a calendar. Now, if you're not a calendar person, I'm going to really encourage you to start doing that. Some people have paper calendars. Some people, like me, have an online calendar. I use Outlook. Some people use a Google Calendar. It doesn't really matter what calendar you're using as long as you understand that this calendar is something you need to pay attention to once, twice, 3 times a day to help guide you in your intention. Now, here's another resource. You can download the different categories that are right here. Now, notice that personal categories are at the bottom. They're important too, right? But you need to create enough time in your life to be able to do your business. And then business is divided into these different 8 categories that we're going to discuss in detail next. So at the top, you can see that what type of block it is, what the purpose is. Here's an example, and then the rule. The rule is very important because it's going to guide your intention and attention. So the first one's revenue. Revenue is number 1. So many people will get caught up in doing other things like emails or creating or imagining or letting the distractions get in the way. But this is really what business is all about. If you're not doing this, you've got a hobby, right? And that's okay. But what's your priority? What's your purpose? What do you really, really want in your life? The second thing is client delivery. This is coaching sessions, group calls, feedback, or reviews. If you're selling products rather than doing coaching or having clients, then it works the same way. You still need to pay attention to feedback and reviews. Make sure that you are delivering your product on time with integrity. Then there's practice, because we need to continue building our skills. This is a rapidly changing environment. And so learning things, learning how to do social media, learning how to build a web page, learning how to communicate, practicing your visibility, creating videos, all of these things are really critical when it comes to revenue generation, right? And so you need to allocate time to practice. Deep work is where we create value. This is where you don't do anything else. You're not multitasking. You're not getting notifications on your phone or your computer. You're creating programs. You're solving problems, and you've got strategy that you're creating. This is very important. Not necessarily urgent, but very important. As we continue, notice how this kind of subtly changes, because these things aren't as urgent, but they are important. So content and visibility, creating visibility, writing posts and emails, recording videos, that kind of thing. If you've hired this out and you've outsourced it, that's great, but you're still in charge of directing it and guiding the direction. And so this is something you're going to always be paying attention to. Planning and review. Many people fail to plan. If you decide to let you and your intention create your life and create your week and create your time, then you need to plan it, because otherwise you're letting it run you. Admin and systems. A lot of people get stuck in admin. They'll either avoid it or they'll focus on it and spend a lot of time with bookkeeping, CRM, scheduling. Obviously, it's important. It's great when you outsource it or have an employee, but if you don't, you got to do it. And so making time in your week for this is important. Notice it says keep this contained or it expands unnecessarily. That's because you can get caught up in the how of doing admin. So this is an area where you might want to get some help. Learning is the final one. This is intentional skill or knowledge acquisition. So courses, reading, training. Everybody needs to continue to grow and learn so that you become fresh. You learn something new. You're able to apply something new, and this is very important. So start your week with intention. This is a weekly time blocking and DMO work session. DMO means daily methods of operation. So each week we meet on Zoom, and this isn't a coaching call. This is not a class. Basically, everybody understands and has access to the tools, what the time blocks are, and has their calendar, and we create our week together with intention. And so this is a very powerful tool that I highly encourage you to engage in. Be sure to check it out on my website, carolmerlo.com/business.